Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic.
So, it's not just the weather that's been hot around here.
What else has been hot?
You
What the fuck are you talking about?
have been annoyed by a word that you saw online.
Say the word.
She, sick and tired, doesn't like the word unalived.
Because it's vague bullshit.
How is it vague, though?
There is a 4-letter word that covers this entire base. Really? Unalived? Really?
What's the 4-letter word for killing someone?
Dead.
But you don't dead someone.
They
you
say
kill them. You murder them.
They say the whatever unalived itself. It's dead. D-E-A-D.
Still killed itself.
But they're referring to something that is dead.
Scream into the microphone. Yes, I know they're referring to something that's dead.
4-letter words. He's
But
dead.
the point is, if someone says so-and-so unalived themselves, you can't say so-and-so dead themselves.
Fine, fucking agree with the idiots of the internet.
It was right. Killed. Murdered.
Because when they say it's unalived, they mean it.
Oh, you used the example. So-and-so killed themselves. Works
Or
perfect.
so-and-so is dead.
You could, but that's not the same example that you gave.
It is.
You got to be clear with your words. And you were not clear. As if you were, I would have understood you. And I did not understand you.
Maybe you're just not paying attention.
But I am paying attention.
Are you
I
now?
even repeated my point 3 times, and it took you the 3rd time to finally say what you actually meant.
Oh, okay. I suck at communication. The moral of the story, the whole podcast is done. I suck. There's not with people of the internet who've made up their own moronic words. Not
Of them too, but are those two things mutually exclusive?
instead of what I actually wanted to
Because
rant
you're
about.
yelling at me for not paying attention because you think
No,
I
I
should have
accused you of
understood
not
what
paying
you
attention.
said.
Nobody's yelling at anyone.
Tell that to the meter. Where is this word being used and in what context?
Everywhere by dumbasses on the internet.
Well, I ask you because I've been paying attention since you've mentioned it, and I have not seen a single person use it that I'm associated with in any way, shape, or form, nor can I ever remember seeing it. I've heard people use the term before, but I can never remember seeing it online ever. That's weird to me because I don't doubt you that you saw it online. Where else would you have heard about it?
Maybe you're just not paying enough attention to idiots. We
But
only
I
had this
don't
conversation 2 days
I
ago.
don't-
You just didn't encounter any of the idiots in the last 2 days.
That's part of the issue.
Then you clearly never read comments on any thread on the internet.
Don't if it's a public
Wow.
thread.
So many idiots.
Like if it's Brandon's, yeah, I might read it. But if it's the Las Vegas Review Journal, it makes me angry to read it because people are stupid.
So this person started their dumbassery by posting a photo on the internet of a dead chicken. This chicken
Yeah.
was actively hanging by its neck in between 2 fence boards.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
And then they were talking about how these chickens are suicidal and stupid. And then the people in the comments are like, what, you had 17 chickens unalive yourself? Shouldn't you be ashamed of yourself? And then all the other dumb shits were using the word unalived. No, this chicken is dead. You want to use your example, whatever. It killed itself, but it's not unalived. Don't be a frickin' retard.
I don't even think unalived is a word.
They've made it a word.
But see, that's the problem today. Everything's becoming made into a word. You personally can do and think anything you want, but you can't insist other people lie to agree with you. And when I say lie, it's got to be based off of their understanding of whatever that situation is, not your understanding of that situation. Then people just make up words, and then they want to say that word means this when everyone else knows the word means something else. And then they want to make you feel bad for believing what you believe. And they tell you you're wrong and you're a bigot and you're all this stuff. And
Offended by the word dead.
yes, they make a fucking word up because somehow dead is, offensive to, maybe it's racist.
Nice.
Maybe the word dead is racist.
Probably racist, sexist.
We should have looked that up before we started this episode because that would have been interesting to know if that's the reason. They always, 100% of the time, redefine terms when they want to change the dialogue in their favor. And so they change the wording of something that's has always meant X. They change it to mean Y. Because Y supports their side.
They use unalive because the word suicide is taboo on the internet.
Also, it specifically means suicide.
But people don't use it that way.
Because nobody understands what the word means. We didn't even understand what the word meant until you looked that up.
If you can't tell what a word means,
no, you're right.
As a speaker of the English language for however many thousand years you've been alive, and half as many thousand years that I've been alive, then it's stupid.
But that's why I said to you the more clear word to use was killed. The person killed themselves.
Dead.
Or committed suicide. John committed suicide. Done. Means the same thing as this stupid unalived word. And it's a dumb word because, for one thing, it doesn't actually exist. You made it up. And now you're trying to force it down people's throats. And when people do that, I will not just double down. I'll quadruple down. And then I'll quadruple down again after that.
So now when you see people on the internet using unalived, you're going to murder them?
Just going to ignore them.
You're going to unalive them?
They're the stupidest people on earth. I will not unalive it. First of all, it's not possible to unalive somebody because there's no such thing as, quote, unalive, end quote.
You used to say they would unfreeze something instead of defrost. Sorry, so you're going to freeze it?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to unthaw it.
Yeah, because you're going to do the opposite of thaw it.
Yeah.
You're going to unthaw it. Unthaw it means freeze it.
That's idiots slightly older than the idiots who've developed unalive.
Yes, but the point is, it's yet another thing where people make up a term and then they try to make it mean something. At least in that case, it was just an honest mistake. They're just dumb. Everything these days is fantasy land. You can just be whatever you want to be because everything is a social construct. Everything.
Do you think that these people think if they use the word suicide on the internet, that suddenly somebody's going to see that it's going to make them think, oh, that sounds like a great idea, and they're going to go jump off the Eiffel Tower?
Especially if these people were to be asked, how come we don't know what unalive means? How come we didn't know that meant suicide? They're going to go, you're not young enough. The younger people, we all know that. Okay, if they all know that and they see the word, how is it any different than seeing the word suicide? It still evokes the same endpoint.
If it means the same thing, then why isn't that going to make somebody hurl themselves off of the Eiffel Tower?
Hot dog, sausage, wiener, they're all the same thing. Different words all mean the same thing. If you've ever seen a hot dog and I tell you that wiener and sausage all mean the same thing as hot dog, you're going to be able to picture what that is.
I'd say so.
All right.
People are idiots.
Yes.
That's the moral of the story.
But that's the theme of our entire show, is that people are stupid.
Oh, this one really irritates me.
I have only seen you this way maybe 3 times in a
Maybe
decade.
It's because I read it. Like, there's a perfectly acceptable word that means this.
I get it in a way because, like, when I see people talking about who they're going to vote for president and they say, I'm going to vote for this person, no matter what.
They could murder 73 people publicly between now and the election and they would still vote for this. They could invoke nuclear winter on an entire continent, and these people are saying they would still vote for them.
We've talked about many times in the course of our relationship that there's really nothing that I can think of that would for sure separate us. And yet at the same time, that's a scary statement to make.
Even if I have a nuclear winter on an entire continent?
I'm able to say that because I have a high level of trust in you. Because it's really easy to say that somebody and then have them go and cheat on you and then go, you said you'd forgive me for anything.
Do you want to know what's hilarious? You would be the whiny one in Llamas with Hats.
Why?
Do you remember Llamas with Hats?
I'm vaguely.
Okay, so I don't remember the whiny one's name, so that's why he doesn't get a name in this scenario. But then there's Carl.
Just whiny.
Okay, there's whiny and then there's Carl. And Carl is a sociopath.
Carl's the one that talks like...
Yeah. He invokes nuclear holocaust on the entire world. And then there's balloons carrying chopped off faces flying through the air. And the whiny one's just like, Carl, that kills people. But they're still friends.
Can't you see that you can separate the person from their actions?
Yeah. I suppose if the person has enough redeeming qualities.
Look.
Which you appear to think that I have.
There are examples ad nauseum where there's someone who has been shitty to either you or to me.
Right.
And the other one says, I'm going to be cautious, but I'm keeping an open mind because they've never done anything to me. You're separating the person from the actions that you heard they committed. And I think that's a fair thing because you know what? Remember my theory. Relationships are like a chemical reaction. They're a mixture together. And sometimes it's explosive. That's not a good thing in a interpersonal relationship to have an explosiveness to your relationship. Because then all you do is bleep and fight. Non-stop.
Yeah.
It's also not good to be complete milquetoast. Because then you have two people who
That word either.
You have two people who are very unhappy in their situation, but they're never going to say anything about it because they're wussies.
Mostly because it makes me think of soggy white bread, which makes me want to buy.
Soft and mushy and not very strong. But the point is, it's better to be in the middle. If there's extremes to the left and the right, or one side and the other, up or down, whatever, always better to be in the middle. The extremes are always bad. It's that simple.
We were talking about binge watching TV shows the other day, if you don't remember. And I gave you that scale where there's the people who are out there who only like to watch one or two series and they just watch them over and over again. Like the people who are always watching Friends. It's the only thing they watch.
Occasionally, what they'll do is they'll have one other series in rotation with that at all times. But that's the one that changes. They never change Friends. They watch it. They won't watch it in order. They'll watch season 1, episode 5, season 2, episode 3, and they just jump all around.
I would really like to watch some of my favorite TV shows that way. Then on the opposite end of the spectrum, there's the people who will never watch something twice. If they don't think they've watched a movie and they get into it and they remember it 5 minutes in, they're turning it off, no matter how much they liked it.
Yep.
I think both of those things are really uncomfortable places to be.
Those are extremes.
You have to be in the middle.
The middle is the best place to live because it gives you the most correction in either direction.
It's true for temperature.
Well, there's like an algorithm for searches, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you take the sample of how many records there are. Let's say there's 10. You split that in half.
Uh-huh.
Now there's 5. And then you do a quick search. Did I find it? No. Split it in half, but then round it up. That's 3. Then you look through there. Oh, no. Split it in half, round it up. You're always going to find it at that point where there's 2. You keep doing that. Life's just like that. You try something, it didn't work. You get feedback. You try it again and it didn't work. And now all of a sudden it's getting better though. It's what we do with food all the time in this house. You try a new recipe, then you'll say, what would you do differently? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? Great questions. Because then you try it the next time and you incorporate the things you think will help and you leave out the things you think will hurt. And then you try it and then we do it all over again. It's an iterative cycle.
Speaking of dinner, smells like it's ready.
I don't smell anything. That's my opinion.
And you're sticking to it?
And I'm sticking to it.
Good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.